In order to have this difficult discussion, you must first accept one inarguable root premise: that there were no non-essential parts to Brad Dixon's defense. Camp Point Central would not have hoisted a state championship trophy if there were, and they would certainly not have authored the most important, impressive, and surprising shutout in tri-state football history in doing so, when you take into account Lena Winslow's reputation and its history. Which suggests that trying to determine the most essential piece from this incredible talent collective might well be a fool's errand. As ever, I'm just the fool for that type of job. So here goes. As this may well have been the best secondary the Panthers have assembled in the Brad Dixon era, we certainly considered its pillars. Nick Moore led the team in interceptions, while Drew Paban was one of two first-team All-State Coaches Association picks on this roster for his two-way work and his even more dynamic stuff in the postseason. Yet we didn't allow those honors to be our guide, as I'd argue Central deserved a half dozen All-State selections, but the politics of that enterprise were never going to allow that to happen. Perhaps in this endeavor we should have accepted the advice of the true expert here as well, Brad Dixon himself, who routinely calls Elijah Genenbacher the best linebacker in the state of Illinois. One at the heart of the most linebacker-centric system in the tri-states. Moreover, he's the one player I've ever heard Brad Dixon say that he doesn't coach too much for fear of messing with him. A kid so valuable there that the Panther coaching staff intentionally limited his carries at running back during the regular season because he was so vital to the defensive construct. And if you saw how good Elijah was running the football down the stretch, you understand the nature of that sacrifice. That all established, I could just not bring myself to ignore what my eyes have been telling me for 2 years now, that sophomore Kadin Niekamp is just a different level of destructive. This conclusion, by the way, was reached long before his soon-to-be, if not already, legendary title game magnum opus against Lee Win. That only affirmed what we already knew, that Kadin was one of those ultra-rare, small-school, undersized defensive line unicorns that seems to be at the heart of every great Western Illinois football power. The heir apparent to the legacy crafted by the likes of Sid Halls and T.J. Menn and Nathan Goudshaw before him. Given his role and his position, and the quality of incredible talent on that Panther defense, there is no earthly way a defensive end should have amassed triple-digit tackle totals and be second on his team in total stops. First, by the way, in solo takedowns with 58. It's a credit to his ceaselessly revving motor and the kind of rare chase-down speed at this level, more reminiscent of a defensive back than a lineman. Look, statistics are often a double-edged sword in the game of football, but no defensive number in our region this year impressed me more than Kadin's 24 stops for loss. That was 9 more than his next closest teammate and his defensive line mentor, Reese Wilkie, not just because of that number itself, though, but because I got to watch the manner in which Kadin executed his work. The ease with which he shreds even good blockers and chases down his targets and blows things up instantly. It was one thing to do that against garden variety regular season foes. The entire state of Illinois saw him do it to Gage Dunker and Lena Winslow's vaunted offensive line, and they are still buzzing about it. To not acknowledge the specialness of Kadin Niekamp's season-long excellence, even if it might come here a bit at the expense of his incredibly talented defensive mates in comparison, felt just plainly wrong to me. Moreover, the fact that no one outside of Camp Point who watched that state final will even raise an eyebrow to this assertion is validation enough that this difficult decision is the right choice here. In that spirit, our congratulations to Camp Point Central sophomore lineman Kadin Niekamp, your 2023 KHQA Illinois Defensive MVP.